What is going on, beautiful people, and welcome to a new video. Haven't been in front of this camera in a very long time, but it's time to start getting back to working on these cars. It is finally nice enough to actually do something, and so I want to try to start getting some of my projects done. As you guys definitely know, I do have the MR2. Oh yeah, since you guys have not been in the loop, some of you guys that do watch the channel, they cut down all the trees next to my house, like every single one of them. It's crazy. So now I have no protection. The STI is on the side of the road here without any kind of shade on it, cover or anything like that. It's just kind of sitting in the weeds. So yeah, it's been kind of interesting. I got my truck out here just because I have the STI out in front of the house. Close this freaking door. So like I said before, I haven't really been out here in a very long time. I come out every now and again just because I want to drive the Evo 5. The Evo 5 just sits here, and I drive the Evo 5 quite frequently. But the main purpose of this video, we're going to try to get this Saphire going. Saphire has been a thorn in my side for a very long time, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks I can get it going and it's not going to be doing what it's doing. So I have this motor here. For those of you that are in the know, this is a 4G63 7 bolt out of a Airtrek RVR, something like that. It was only made, I don't know, a couple years or whatever, but does have a 4G63T in it. Same thing as the Evo. Now that is up for debate. I don't know exactly. Most of the major parts, pistons, rods, crank, head, block, are all the same as the Evo 8 and 9 motor. This does not have a MIVEC, so it doesn't have any oil line going to the exhaust cam or anything like that, or intake cam. I'm sorry, intake or exhaust. I'm sorry, but it has everything else, all the accompanying stuff. So I have taken these motors apart all the way down and actually looked at it from the inside. It does have oil squirters. It does have pretty good pistons, pretty good rods. These motors are good for about 500 to 550. Some people probably take them up to 600 horsepower. What's the limiting factor is the cams on these. The cams on these are very different lobe duration, so they are very they're not the same as what we have in the 4G63 from the Evo 8 and 9s, or even the 5s, to be honest. So one of the things I will be doing is changing that out. I do have my spare block, my 2.3 liter in the corner over there. It does have a set of cams in it, so I'm going to be changing over those cams. Going to be changing over a bunch of stuff because I got this motor probably like last week sometime, and I just got tired of this, trying to make it like so that it runs. So if you guys have watched since the very beginning with Saphire, it did have a built motor in it. It had a stock, well, it's not stock, it's a stock block, but it had a Eagle cams, or I'm sorry, Eagle crank, Eagle pistons, and it had Manley rods. I don't know why it's not a full Eagle rotating assembly, but it's not. It's definitely jumbled up, but it does have different rods in there, and I think that the pistons that are in it are too small, causing everything to smoke, because I had everything else around this car done as far as like getting it serviced. So there's nothing going on with the head. It doesn't have any like problems in the head as far as what do you want to call those, valve seals. They have brand new valve seals in them. It had a brand new turbo because the turbo was rebuilt and all that jazz. So it didn't have anything to do with the actual oiling system. So I definitely think that it had to come down to rings. Even though I did have the machine shop put a new set of rings in there, I don't know if the rings that they put in were correct or whatever, but the machine shop that I've been going to did have some issues sourcing the right parts. So I think that what I'm probably going to do is when I pull this bad boy out, I'll take it back to the machine shop, have them bore for another set of bigger pistons. So probably 20 overs, because I think this is standard bore, standard everything. have it bored over 20 over and make sure that the clearances are right, and do what I got to do, because I know for a fact whenever it was in the machine shop, they did say that the oil ring was way too big. So I don't know exactly if they bored it and put different rings in it and did something, but it still smokes whenever you get on the accelerator. So the car breaks up like crazy. It's just a weird feeling. Like you just let it sit outside and just like warm up, and it just you know, bellows smoke. So I think that's going to be the next thing after I get this car finished. I got to wet sand this car like crazy, and then I got to put it all back together. But first thing we're really going to have to do is strip this bottom end. Well, not the bottom end. We're going to have to strip this motor down, because obviously the turbo I won't need. I know some people use this types of stuff, but like I don't. I've never really used. I literally have a second RVR turbo, AirTrek turbo, sitting in my you know, my garage over there. I really don't do anything with it. So if people like, you know, people want it, they want, you know, throw me an offer for it and I'll send it your way, or something like that. Same with the intake manifold. The intake manifold is very weird on these cars because like they come up and they're like a hump. The intake manifold on the Evo 8s and 9s are complete different design. So I'm not really going to be messing around with that. Everything that's on the side over here is really going to stay, except for the boost solenoids are actually going to come off. I changed the sensor out because that's broken. The power steering pump has got to go. And I think that's really it. So I think I'm going to take the valve cover off, replace the valve cover gasket, change out what I need to change out. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to use this valve cover at all, to be honest with you. I think I might just use the valve cover that's in this car. So, yeah, I don't know yet, because like the whole, you know, what do you want to call it? The whole process with this car was to actually go from, it was supposed to be blue, black, and silver, or blue and silver with like maybe silver wheels or something like that, but having tints of black. I don't know yet. But it's been a while since I've actually worked on this car. It's been annoying me. So I'm actually going to take this motor and get it apart, get everything that I need off of it, and then we can just go from there. Buy all the gaskets that I need. I don't think I really need too many. I think I might have a couple gaskets just laying around. But yeah, it's going to be something that I'm going to be looking for. So I'm going to set up my tripod, and then I'm just going to get to work, roll it over here somewhere, and yeah, just get to work. So give me 1 second. Be right back. People, so there's a couple things I want to explain to you right now. If you do happen to get one of these AirTrek motors, I'm going to go through and explain exactly what I'm taking off. So the first thing I kind of took off was some of the harness here. Since this harness was already cut, there's really not too much I can kind of do with that. Some of the ends are kind of bad. I can probably use this. This is the one for the knock sensor. I can probably use that sensor, at least the sensor end. I can cut that off at the end. All of these ones for the injectors, they are not needed, just because the injectors are a different size or a different harness, so I won't really be using those. I think that's really it. I think maybe this throttle body sensor end I can probably use, so I'll probably keep that. The one thing about these fuel injectors, I can't really use those, like I said before. So I just cut some of them at the ends because they're a completely different sensor end. So I can't really use that. This as well, the fuel rail, I can't really use. The fuel rail, the pressure regulator is a possibility. So I'll cut that, I'll take that off and put that aside. And I think that's really it. these little rubber ends as well. Like, you can probably save those. You know, you might not use them, but it's good to save them. So we get in our somewhat of our bare intake manifold here. Some of this stuff is, like I said before, just hideously cut, so it's just kind of taped up and such. So a lot of this stuff I'll be just trashing, but none of this stuff that you will be using anyway, because the Evo 8's really, like, they use a bunch of these sensors, but a few of these sensors, they're already on the car, so you don't really need to worry about those. Just like anything else over here as well, this boost controller and stuff like that, solenoids, you won't have to use any of that stuff. All this vacuum line, you won't have to use any of that, you know, none of that stuff. So I'm gonna take all of this stuff off and just probably just chuck it in the garbage, because some of this stuff, like this bare aluminum stuff, I can probably get something for it. But I did notice that in my garbage here, I'm not gonna fish it out, but the top to this you know, this dipstick was broken off, so I'll probably just have to use the dipstick from the car, which is no big deal. But yeah, let's just get back to doing what we're doing, because get this intake manifold off, and then we can move to the front and see how that's gonna go. Because yeah, it should be pretty simple. A couple bolts up here, try to get this this thing off. This thing is just like rusted through, so I'm not really gonna reuse this at all. Like, I'd probably just chuck this. The turbo, like I said before, I'll probably just chuck. If somebody wants it, let me know. You know, give me like 20 bucks for it, whatever, I don't know, because they're really not worth too much in my eyes anyway, so I'm just gonna chuck it. The power steering pump, I'm probably not gonna keep either. I'll probably, you know, I might just put some of this stuff on eBay. I have no idea. Like, one of my buddies, Norbert, told me that some of this stuff is definitely worth some money, but I have no idea. So I'm just chucking it as I go and just, you know, hoping for the best. But we'll get back to it. The intake manifold is a couple 12mm bolts up here, 14s at the ends to get this bad boy off. And then this side over here has got this, you know, it's for the alternator, to hold it up, the alternator bracket. So we're gonna hold on to that. So looking over here, all the bolts that are in this little bucket here are bolts that I need to keep. Everything else over here is really stuff that I really don't need, like this stuff here. These are the spacers for the fuel rail, so I don't really need those, so I'm gonna put those over to the side. All of these bolts are bolts that I took off the top of the you know, valve cover here. I never really reuse these because it takes away from the aesthetic of the valve cover, but the holes on the stock valve cover are not, they're still there. So if I really wanted to put this back on, I could, but I'm probably not going to, because like I said before, it just looks way better. So yeah, underneath, I did keep the knock sensor. Obviously I want to hold on to that. It's this bracket here is going to stay, so I'm gonna keep that. Anything else? I don't think there's really anything else. But once I actually get all this stuff off, like this stuff here is just ridiculous. Like I'm, you know, stuff for the alternator, but take that bolt off, take this wire out. But yeah, we're just gonna keep on rocking, and we'll see what we end up for today, because it is, like I said before, really hot outside, so I really don't want to be out here. I put the AC on for at least a little bit, try to keep me cool while I'm in this garage. I thought it was going to be cooler than it is right now, but it is stormingly hot out here. It's still like 81 degrees inside the garage here, so trying to make it so that like it's bearable in here at least. So let me put you back on the stand, and let's keep going. So now that we have the intake manifold off, it wasn't really that bad. Obviously it's not that bad. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4 12 bolts down at the bottom, 3 12 bolts at the top, 2 14 bolts, or 2 14 nuts, and a 14 down here in the corner. I had to take this off. Obviously the water line, take that off. I have to take this one off, this one off, this one off. Yeah, so there's a couple water lines I have to take off here still. These 2 water lines I have to take off. These, you know, whatever couplers, you know, like clamps, hose clamps. Yeah, I can do that. But yeah, so we're gonna move around to the front and we're gonna take this turbo off because it's not like it's gonna be a nightmare. It's just gonna be one of those things. It's gonna be super simple. Bunch of bolts, oil line, coolant lines, no big deal. So should be fun, should be fun. The thing that I can't stand, so I'm gonna be real for you for 1 second, with you for 1 second. One of my kryptonites is oil leaks, and I've always had a problem getting oil leaks fixed and not having an issue. And every single turbo that I've ever had, besides the GTR, actually, no, that's a lie. I even have an oil leak with the GTR. So every oil leak that I've ever had, I've actually had an issue. And every single Evo that I've ever owned, there's always been an oil problem that I've always had, and it's right here. So I know what you're saying. Well, just change out the gasket, right? Change out the gasket. Nope. Every single time I've ever done one of these cars, there's always been a problem. Always. So so don't judge me whenever you see me doing this, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the 2 10mm bolts off of here and at the back, and I'm just gonna leave the oil line, take off the turbo with the oil line still intact down to at the bottom. Every time I've ever done that and put a stock or stock-ish turbo back on, never had a problem. So this is, like I said, one of my kryptonites, and it really sucks, but it's one of those things where I can't get around it. It's always been one of the things that I just cannot do. So but yeah, I'm gonna turn this bad boy around or move the camera, whatever one. And I'm gonna start getting to the front of this bad boy, taking all of these lines off, taking this power steering pump off because I got to take that off anyway. I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but I'll see how long it's actually gonna be. Hopefully it's not gonna be like crazy long, and I'll see what we can get done. If it's too long, then I'll just start another video and start getting to the timing belt stuff and change out everything. I don't think I'm gonna clean this motor up that much. Like, this is really, it's a used motor. Like, what are you gonna do? But it's stock, you know what I mean? I know it has good compression, so it is what it is. So I'm not really gonna mess around with it too much, but like I said before, just make it look a little bit better and put those timing components on. And if I have time to change the I don't know how old this belt is on here. If I have to go to the store and get a belt for it, I'll go get a belt for it, no big deal. I just want to make sure that it's gonna run right and run good for a little bit. So but yeah, put this back up on the stand. Let's get this turbo off and let's get it going. All right, people, so the GoPro turned off. Not like it was that big of a deal. It was, you guys only missed like maybe a good maybe 30 seconds of footage that could have been, but no big deal. It is what it is. But do have the turbo off. It's really not that big of a deal. It came off 1 2 3. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know how long this video is gonna be. It when I first started, I was just thinking I was just gonna get the intake manifold and the exhaust manifold off, but now that I actually have everything off, I'm probably gonna continue. But this video is about 10 minutes, 12 minutes long. Well, maybe a little bit longer than that, if I had to guess. And I don't wanna bore you to death. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a break. I'm gonna go inside, get something to eat. Next, when I come back, I'm actually gonna take this side apart and get this valve cover off. and possibly changed over everything that I need to. If I need to go to the store, I will go to the store, make sure that I can get a new timing belt. I'll check to see how bad the timing belt is. If it is bad at all, which it probably is, I'm gonna be right here, so I might as well just do it. Change over the cams, make sure that those are good. Throw these ones in pretty much the garbage. Probably change over the ones that are in that head, probably move it over here into this. I think those are Crower 280s. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember. I can't remember what is in there, but I'll change this bracket out. I'll change out all this stuff, and like I said before, I'll go get myself a new timing belt. So yeah, so follow me on this journey. I will be getting this motor ready to put back in, drain the oil, do all that jazz, make sure it's all good, clean it up a little bit, give it a quick scrub if I need to, and then we can actually move forward with what we got going on. Because yeah, I want to try to get, it probably won't be this week, probably next week, that I probably get the motor actually out of the blue car, Saphire, and on the floor, start switching over everything like the turbo, the intake manifold, and all that jazz, and make sure everything is good with that. And then we could possibly get it back into the car, because honestly, it really shouldn't take me that long. But this time I'm probably gonna drop the whole subframe, make sure that the whole subframe is out, because it's not that bad. Like, I can just drop it and it won't be too terrible. Drop it on the ground, push it over somewhere, and make sure everything is good. Plus, I have, it's pretty funny, over here I have three engine stands, but this one's got an engine on it, obviously. This one's got an engine on it, and this last one's actually a kind of funny story, because that last one is actually a problem. I took my Subaru motor to the machine shop, and they never gave me my whatever this, the holder back. So pretty upset about that, but nothing I could really do. So yeah, that's pretty upsetting. So I just now looked, I do have this O-ringed 4G63 block just sitting here. Maybe I might do something with that. I don't know exactly when, where, how, but I don't know. Maybe. I was thinking about it. I have no idea yet, but go for that magic, like, I don't know, crazy horsepower. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So follow me on this journey. I will be right back. If you want to follow me on this journey. I am Just the Whips, or you can follow me on our regular page, R Napoleon. Yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, deuces.